climate is an economic issue. And the whole philosophy of punishing negativity, I think it's a disaster. They want companies to act on climate. People are leaving companies if they don't see that. I have Garmin, I also have Whoop. I'm that crazy, right? We cannot act on what we don't measure. So I'm Gilad. I used to be an investment banker, flying around the world with private jets. There was one Russian billionaire, and he was shouting. He wanted another 4 meter for his new yacht. It was unreal.
How did the idea of KORA came to you?
The KORA struck me as an idea when I was practicing Tai Chi. What KORA does in principle, it measures how people are moving, and for every 100 grams of CO2 you are avoiding, we issue a KORA for you. And the KORA can be redeemed in a marketplace. Whatever you buy in the marketplace, you offset with KORA. We think that it's realistic per user to have around 1.5 ton avoided per person. What we are targeting is turning sustainability to become a profit center and not a cost center. We're not talking about carbon reduction, we're talking about carbon avoidance.
Who is paying for that?
We all. All research is showing that not acting is by far more expensive. We want to create a huge movement around the world.
Hello guys, thank you very much for being here in the podcast Sur la Place. Today we receive a startup, KORA, because after talking with so many investors, I realized that it's great to invite investors, but if we don't have great startup to invest in, it's a bit useless. And I also realized that what excites the investors is not just about the product or the technology or the innovation. It's about the people that create those technologies. This is why we try to invite great founders that has great ideas. Today we will come to Gilad, KORA's CEO, whose mission is to raise awareness around climate change. Thank you very much, Gilad, to be there.
Thank you for having me, Elie.
It's a pleasure to receive you in this podcast. We are going to talk about your life, your story, of course about your startup, and a lot of surprise in this episode. Thank you very much.
And it's the first one in English.
First one in English, so I hope my accent will be great.
Your accent is very French.
Thank you very much. So, tell me more about yourself. Can you introduce yourself for the ones that don't know you?
Sure. So I'm Gilad, and I used to be a super important, know everything investment banker, flying around the world with private jets, and I was sure that I'm the smartest person on earth. And coincidentally, in 2004, I came across the climate problem, and that was kind of a wake-up call for me. At that time, I was father of 3. Mm-hmm. Now I'm a father of 4. And I just thought, what is it that I'm leaving behind to my children? And I decided at 2011 to leave everything behind in terms of investment banking and M&A. I was doing mainly M&A and stop climate change.
Great.
That's what I want to do.
As we receive a lot of investors, we have to talk a bit about investment banking. For the ones that don't know what is it, can you explain very easily what was your job as an investment banker?
Sure. What I did is M&A, mergers and acquisitions. So I was advising for processes of buying and selling companies.
Okay, great. And you were in a private jet? Is it real?
So, yeah, for real, in many times. So I was working mainly between Nordics, Baltics, and Russia. It was the happy 90s and mid 2000s. It was really interesting. Also to gap, between cultures and completely different way of thinking, and to understand that it's not about being good or bad, but really it's different way of thinking and different cultures. And I really liked what I liked about it is managing the egos and the fears in the room.
Yeah, it's because at the end it was not about finance; it was about egos and.
Pretty much so, and many times about. Of course, it's always about assets as well, but it was many times just about people.
And what was the size of the deals that you were working on?
Between, I would say, around single digits millions, and the largest one was 3 billion.
Okay.
So, and we were working as a boutique, and when needed, we work with the big boys. So with Citibank, with Barclays, with ABN AMRO. So when we needed their industrial expertise.
Great. What was your background in terms of scholarship, diplomas, so on?
So I studied. I'm mechanical engineer, but I never worked as an engineer because I thought I will not be a good engineer. So I didn't want to do what I'm not good at. And then I did my MBA. So that's my academic background. And during the MBA, I already started. Actually, the first 3 years, I was more into a management consultant. I was partnering with the former head of McKinsey in London, and we had a lot of great time together. And then I had the first transaction, and I fall in love in transactions. So I really liked it.
It's crazy. So you never worked in a, let's say, a corporate environment?
I did a bit, but corporates don't want me to be there. Trust me, I'm not a corporate person, and I feel very comfortable when there is a mess. So when many people don't feel comfortable, but when things start to be in order, so also I'm aware that I will not be able to manage KORA when it's growing. Someone else will have to step in because that's not my strength. And we have to be aware of what we are not good at and bring the right people in the right time.
And after this career as an investment banker, you were not that much close from the innovation world and so on. How did this idea of creating something came on the table?
So in parallel to all this, I started a long journey with my fears that brought me very deep into spiritual work, a lot of meditation, yoga.
During your activity of investment banker, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, I was. I felt that fears controlling my life, and I didn't like it. So I just decided to start to do something about it, and slowly started to discover in the path that meditation is really helpful for me. I started to practice yoga, and I was very devoted.
And this meditation and yoga was more to control the fear?
Not to control, but not to let the fears to control me.
So the fear is still there,
yes,
but now you know how to manage.
They don't control me anymore. So and that kind of releases my mind. And what really released my mind, maybe I will surprise you, is that I stopped to read books.
Okay.
So I received a book from the biography of Steve Jobs just when I started my first startup. And after 10 days, my best friend who bought me called me and asked me, how was the book? And I told him that I opened the book and immediately closed it. And then he asked me, but why? I mean, you want to be entrepreneur? Everyone is reading Steve Jobs' biography. So my answer was that I didn't want to become a bad Steve Jobs. I want to become a better Gilad.
Okay.
And not reading actually helped me to become by far more creative.
Okay.
Because I was not influenced by other people's ideas.
But sometimes it's great to have other people background to know the mistakes that they made in order to don't reproduce.
So I have also, you cannot learn from mistakes of others. You cannot even learn from your own mistakes because mistakes are very much connected to time, specific situations. It's like relationships. Can you really take and bring from what happened to you if you broke relationships with one person to another person? No, not really, because it's a completely different person. Same with mistakes. So my way of thinking is that when you make mistakes, just make sure that it doesn't crush you. And okay, it happened. What do I do next? Of course, there is some sort of possibilities to have a big picture learning, but that's the way I look at it.
And you don't read book anymore. What do you do like for your free time?
Oh, you don't want to know. I'm practicing a lot, and we can speak about. I do ice bath. I'm standing on nails. I'm fasting a lot. I'm meditating. Still practicing some yoga. So a lot of well-being. I have a whole philosophy behind it. I start now to go back a bit to book reading because I feel I'm more mature now in that path. So it's what is it now? 15 years that I didn't read. I used to read a lot.
And you still know to read.
Now I'm starting to come back to it.
This is crazy. And did you find other people, maybe in Amsterdam or I don't know, that are sharing the same philosophy as yours?
No, to be honest.
You are the only one.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but certainly not many people. To be honest, I didn't hear it from anyone else. It's like, and it's kind of, the moment, the feeling that I had, and that's very personal. I'm not trying to point fingers on anyone. Of course, it's just my personal journey. The moment that I stopped to, because I used to read a lot, I kind of felt more free. I kind of felt that I don't have borders around me. I felt that there are no any more frames in my life. And that's what led me to start to think in a completely different way. Sometimes it's a little bit creating, some doubts and you're not sure. But when you learn to watch it through the meditation and yoga, you just let it by itself, it's sorting itself by itself. And that's actually what led to KORA. Otherwise, I would not come with the idea of KORA.
We'll talk about KORA just after. Just to conclude on this part that is super interesting, by the way. Do you think that this methodology and this way of thinking could work to other people, or is it just because you are unique?
I don't see myself as unique. It's very important for me. Being me is the most natural thing to be, right? And for you, for each one of us, of course, society is influencing us. I'm of course, but all what I'm saying when, because many people coming, they want to learn that I'll teach them how to meditate, and all what I say is be yourself. See what fits you. What fits me not necessarily will fit you. Also, it took me many years to come into this. And I cannot even tell you what was the trigger for me to close the book. It's not that I cannot say, hey, I'm unique, I'm incredible, I'm this. No, something there in the unconsciousness, in my being, in my journey, I literally opened it and closed it. And I cannot explain. And then I started to, again, meditate on that. What happened here? And only then I could put it into words.
Put it into words. Have you ever thinking about writing a book or something about it?
This morning. Actually, morning.
We are all waiting for
this morning, I actually was thinking about it, yes.
I think it's really useful to share your experience because it's something that you never find.
So I'll write a book about not reading books.
yeah, but
that could be an interesting one.
I saw a book to stop smoking, and they are talking actually of smoking during all the books. So
yes, exactly.
Then KORA was your first startup?
No, second.
Can you tell us about the first one?
It was crazy. We were trying and we didn't succeed to develop a vertical axis wind turbine. It was really, really interesting. You want to go vertical, so it goes this direction. You want to go vertical because it's very quiet. and it can live in urban environments. I even went to Pininfarina, the designers of Ferrari. They designed for us incredible, beautiful turbine. What the problem with vertical is that in some angles it's extremely efficient, but some angles it's a stopper. And despite working with probably one of the top aerodynamicist team in the world for wind turbines, with Chris Hornsey Jones, we didn't. It was very, very difficult. We didn't make it to work in the way that we wanted it. And then we said, okay, we built the turbines, and it was a crazy journey.
It's crazy because we worked with a wake partner with a New World Wine, that is a startup, a French startup that has designed a vertical turbine. I will and the founder actually, Luc-Éric Krief, came to the podcast 1 year ago.
Nice.
I will share with you his contact. Could be interesting to discuss together. And what was the hardest thing in this journey? Was it only the product conception, or did you face to other type of issue?
No, it was the aerodynamics. Because we were trying to work with the straight blades. So there are different type of vertical axis. And there was a reason why we tried to work with the straight blades. Because as I said, in principle, if you manage to do it in the right pitching, it can be very efficient machine. But we had to put it to sleep. Unfortunately, it was a crazy story. Only for that we need the 5 podcasts.
And it was the first startup, and already in the way to change and to act on the climate change.
Of course. So that was 2011 until around 2015, and then I took a few years pause. That was, and then I started to help other entrepreneurs, actually doing what you guys are doing, to fundraise in Berlin. I really liked that because I understood both sides. I understood the money side and the entrepreneur side. And actually, I was very successful, like for real, but I couldn't not go and do what we are doing today.
And why did you want to have impact? Like, what was the event that came and makes you?
What really was the last straw was we were in a meeting when we were working on that $3 billion deal, and we were in a meeting with one Austrian billionaire, and there was one Russian billionaire in the meeting, and we were actually representing the Austrian side. But then the Russian was flying back to Moscow, and we had to be there, so we flew with him back in his private jet, and we wanted to continue the conversation with him. And he went upon ourselves stepping into the plane. He said, "Guys, give me a few minutes." The first thing he did, he called his yacht builder, an Italian guy, Antonio. It was 11 o'clock at night, and he was the entire flight. It was like 3.5 hours. At the beginning, it was quiet, but he was shouting. He wanted another 4 meter for his new yacht because the guy in Vienna had 2 meter longer new yacht. And I said to myself, Gilad, is that what you want to do? This is the world you want to be part of? And that was really the last straw. I mean, it was a long process, but that was, I also wrote about it in LinkedIn. It was unreal.
Crazy. After this first startup, so you took a break.
Yes.
Investment banking again, and then KORA.
Yes.
How did the idea of KORA came to you?
The KORA struck me as an idea when I was practicing Tai Chi. I was practicing a bit Tai Chi, and when you practice Tai Chi, you practice energy flow, and that kind of. I started to think about the preservation of the idea of preserving energy, not physical energy, but spiritual energy, in a way, between and turn it into intrinsic value. That's how it started, and from there again a lot of meditation and until it became, and still we're still developing it. I mean, it's an ongoing process in terms of creating KORA as a principle beyond the, as you said yourself, beyond the technology, the market, the customer, etc. But really as a concept, as a first concept of the economy of the individual carbon avoidance. So it took quite some time to develop that into what it is today.
Can you pitch KORA in a 30 seconds?
There are so many different ways to pitch KORA. It can be pitched as an app. It can be pitched as a concept. It can be pitched as a gamification. What KORA does in principle, it measures how people are moving. We're also going to develop an energy and food solution. It knows automatically. It's all been automated, so it knows how you move. And for every 100 grams of CO2 you're avoiding, we issue a KORA for you. And the KORA can be redeemed in a marketplace in a very special way. Whatever you buy in the marketplace, you offset with KORA. So KORA is both a system that help to or reward people to change their behavior, but also help them to understand better the way they consume. So that's stage one. Stage two is accrediting KORA. So KORA is becoming actually a new category of, I don't like the word carbon credits, but that's what people will understand. Based on verified action that made by individual and connecting individuals with entities. So consumer with brands, fans with football clubs, citizens with cities, etc., etc. And suddenly we're all acting together by making changes to our daily behaviors in order to stop climate change. And if you aggregate it, the numbers can be huge, and we can talk about it later.
Climate change is humanity's biggest challenge in this century. That is a fact. Why haven't we been able to find a solution to this problem yet?
That's a very good question. When I started to look into climate, and that was the period when I described, I paid attention that there are for three major phenomena in my understanding, and there are more. But let's start with this. So number one, I understood that climate is an economic issue. And now you are nodding, but when I presented it in the UN as one of the early SDGs events, people thought that I'm out of my mind. And then when I look at what we created as an economic solution, that was another tax system in the form of carbon credits. So actually I can buy myself out of the problem by just paying for it and then pushing the price on my consumers or on my customers. So what are we doing? So that's number one. Number two, we expected that it will only be resolved top down. And so everyone is looking at big corporations and governments. Now, if you look at governments, basically at the best they work, let's say 4, maybe 5 years in office. But the climate change has been developed over a century and a half. So these two are living in two completely different time zones. How can you resolve a phenomena that was slowly being developed? Now it's been accelerated, but how can you resolve that if you don't see it? And the best example, of course, is the pandemic. The world immediately reacted because it was seen, and we saw people dying, so the world reacted. So that was number two. And then number three is really very basic. If I will ask you your age, your height, your weight, no problem, you will know that, you will tell me, I will understand. But if I will ask you, Elie, what was your carbon footprint today, you will have no clue. If I will tell you that mine was 2 kilograms, you will not know, is it much, Is it lead? The problem is that we don't understand the basic KPI, which is our carbon footprint, not as individuals and not as entities. People don't get it. When Greta was shouting about 51 gigaton, I asked my mother, Mama, do you understand what she's saying? I said, no clue. And one of the problem, or the other problem that we have, two problems that we have with climate, or three, or four, is number one, it's very complicated. The language that we're using is not a daily language. People don't get it. That's number one. And number two, we are, as an industry, focusing on reporting and not that much of decarbonization, which is really an issue. Number three, the sustainability teams are living in a silo. There is not everyone is involved. If we want, according to IPCC, between 40 to 70% of the influence on emissions is individuals' behavior. So we don't act bottom up, and we have to add. I'm not saying that top down should not exist there, but we have to add the bottom up, and that's what we are doing.
You talked about a lot of different issues. What are the main one, and what are the ones that are linked to what KORA is doing? Are you targeting all those issues, or?
It's really a very good question, and you know, I'm entrepreneur, so of course we are targeting everyone. I mean, what's the question, right? What we are targeting mainly is turning sustainability to become a profit center and not a cost center. That's the key. If you can give people a tool that they can profit from, no questions asked.
But if they take a profit from their action,
yeah,
someone has to pay.
Yes.
Who is paying for that?
We all. However, and this is a very good question, all research is showing that not acting is by far more expensive. One of my favorite research institute, and it's not the only one, is Swiss Re. Swiss Re is the reinsurance company, second largest in the world. They started to research climate in the late 70s. And for years and years and years, they say that not acting on climate, the number that they give will cost the world economy around 20% of the GDP. Just think about it, that when the pandemic was here, we all remember what happened to the economy. It was less than 5% slowdown. Can you imagine what will be with 20%? You know that there are now areas in California which are not being insured anymore. Same in Florida. The risk, the insurance companies today cannot evaluate risks anymore. So when you ask about who will pay for it, it will be by far cheaper, and we will probably explain more details, by far cheaper and actually profitable for us to act on climate rather than not.
And what do you think about the existing solution? Because if it's linked to money, as you said, there are carbon credits and so on.
I think it's a disaster, to be honest with you. I know that many people will be angry hearing that, but if you look at the development of the carbon credit industry, and you look at the one most important KPI, which is the ppm, which is parts per million, you will see that they are both increasing at the same time. So if carbon credits would work and the industry is becoming so big, it should start to show on the ppm. It doesn't. And this is before we are talking about a research that was done by Berkeley on Vera. Vera is one of the most used to be, in my most famous, important company in the world of carbon credits, especially in the Red Plus. The research show over 20 years of credits that the actual delivery on the ton was 8%. 8%. That's it. So I'm sorry. I mean,
but there are other
pretty much
other solution. You are talking about carbon credits, but there are the ESG regulation and so on.
So let me just say that before we are moving to ESG regulations, etc., that there are better or more credible credits. However, in my opinion, the whole philosophy of punishing negativity is really not the way to go forward.
I agree in a way, but in another hand, it's crazy because this carbon credit action has been adopted by all the biggest companies in the world. So it means that it's possible to make something worldwide that will work.
But it's not working.
It's not working in terms of climate.
But that's what we want.
Yes, but in terms of action, like it means that it's possible to find a way to accordingly make all the people going in the same way, in the same direction. It's not the right direction.
I agree.
But it means that we are able to go, everyone is in a direction. So we just need to move and to go to the opposite, but together. So it's possible.
Absolutely, it's possible. You're right. And it was, look, the idea that came out of the Kyoto Protocol was not that, I mean, the Kyoto Protocol had a divine idea, right? It's simply that the implementation, and it was very comfortable to adopt. ESG, I can have a very high ESG score without trying to remove even 1 gram of CO2 in my company.
Yeah, because there are so many topics.
Exactly. So, and again, I think that reporting, yes, is important. The issue is that became the key thing that people are doing, focusing on reporting and not on decarbonization. And that's the issue that I see with the whole way of thinking.
Yeah. The other issue, in my opinion, is that it's always linked to companies.
Correct.
And not on human.
Correct.
So this is what KORA tries to bring on the table.
We, amongst other, what we are doing is connecting individuals with companies. As I said, acting both bottom up and top down, acting together, and not saying to them, not pointing. How can we blame even the oil companies that they are the bad guys, and they are? How can we blame them if you and I are demanding that product? I just don't get it, right? If I demand something and I'm right? If I fly, if I jump in, I don't have a car, but let's say that what do I want from them? I'm the one that's using, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that we have to act together, and I think that we have to going back to where we started, right? Looking into ourselves and not looking into what's wrong with others, but really ask ourselves, how can we do better?
Okay, and the first step to achieve this goal is to know about what we are doing actually.
Exactly. Look, I have Garmin. I also have Whoop. I'm that crazy, right? I measure everything. And those two, I know it's crazy, helped me to improve my physics, my sleep. I eat differently because I measure. And when we cannot act on what we don't measure.
Yeah, okay. But how do you measure carbon consumption, let's say?
So we have an app, and all what you have to do in the app is to give it the permit to track, and it knows automatically what is the movement, what is the mean of transportation that you're using. So it will know if you're walking in the underground, train, plane, car, everything automated. And the automation is super important.
Okay. So you are focusing on the transport and the movement of the people because
at the moment.
is it because it's the main topic in terms of carbon consumption?
No, it's not. The two, I would say the three main, and there are more, but the three main is mobility, energy, and food. Okay, and we are going to tackle all three. So we started with mobility because for two reasons. We felt that it can be more interesting to users to look because when I move, I can see the differences, right? And also because people will be willing to give to allow to the data to be there. Same for energy, by the way, but just energy is a little bit less interesting because when you move, you are more involved in something in comparison to when your fridge is working at home, right? So you're more aware of what you are doing. So that's the reason. However, we're planning this year to add the energy, and then also the food, and that will already be covering probably around close to a 90+% of our footprint.
Okay. And then there are two challenges with KORA. First of all, engage people.
Only two.
First of all, engage people to track their action, okay?
Yeah.
And then being able to make the link between people and the companies and so on, and the organization. Why do you think that you are going to succeed?
So actually, the second one is less challenging. The first one is why I think that we will succeed. Number one, we're already seeing a first success, like early success. It's mainly about making it all more gamified. You know, all the tools that we know that exist there. So gamifying it, making sure that you have communities, some feedback. We're not going to create out of KORA a social media platform, but so people can interact. We have leaderboards, we have prizes, we have so it is all the tools which, from that point of view, KORA is no different than Duolingo or Strava or Sweatcoin or other great solutions that are out there, and it's working. I mean, Strava has hundreds of millions of users, right?
But in terms of units economic, they are losing money today.
Yes, but KORA is not the unit economy of KORA is is extremely profitable.
How does it work?
The unit economy?
Yeah.
So there are, we have, at the moment, we have two major revenue streams. One is we are selling solutions to companies. So companies need to report on commuting and traveling, business traveling. And I don't know if you know, but I know the number in Netherlands. 46% of the domestic emissions on transportation are coming from commuting. 46%. So we're talking about huge numbers. And when you come to a company, so companies are facing few things. Number one, especially younger generation, and this is where we are going. Before going back to the regulations, right, and the reporting, all studies showing that, especially younger generation and talented people, they want companies to act on climate. And suddenly you give them a tool, you give a person a tool, hey, you can be part of our decarbonization. That's becoming much more interesting. And younger generation, people are leaving companies if they don't see that. And the costs for replacement is enormous. We're talking 100 people company. We're talking about, according to our calculations, 2 to 3 million euro in replacement, and this is something that we can save for them.
Okay.
Talking about not the whole 2 to 3, of course, but this is the way of thinking. So engagement, right? Then also the automated of collecting the data. While, and this is, I will say that again and again, while keeping a private privacy. So that's one solution. This is it's kind of a SaaS solution, and then we're also making money from the shop, from the e-commerce. Okay. And the plan going forward is to make money on retiring KORA. So that's and of course you have big data source.
So at the end, it's a real B2B solution.
Yes, but we will also bring in got the word when you have in an app, you have the premium.
Okay.
Yeah. So we bring premium, so you can have better
more functionalities. And
more, so yeah. But KORA is for free for the end user, and everything, the basics, everything is for free because we want to create a huge movement around the world.
Today, the first version of KORA exists.
It's already more than it's longer than the first version. Yes, yeah. It exists. It's working. We keep all the time improving, but yes, it does. So it's not only the app itself, but also we have a dashboard, so companies can receive the aggregated, anonymized data. So yes, it's working.
And how many companies are using KORA today? How many users do you have?
So we have now. We just started actually to end of last year. We started really to bring it to market. We have about 10 customers as companies. 2 of them are really big. We have 2 trusts of NHS in the UK. And we will launch with them in April, one day after the Earth Day. So we'll be there. It's going to be a very big launch. And actually, there is a plan to do a full rollout. In total, we are now in negotiations with companies with over 1.5 million employees, and that's not including the NHS. We also, in principle, got a yes from the first Premier League football club. They want to implement that next year with their employees, but then to their funds.
And this is crazy because then it's a.
They want to bring it to their app, and they have 15 million users in their app, and they are not the only ones. We are talking to a few others, actually, to roll it throughout the world of sport. And this is before we are talking about the total number of fans that they have, which is in the hundreds of millions. So sports is one of the verticals that we are working very strong on. And the same goes to, we are in discussions with one of the top consulting companies in the world with over 500,000 employees. Mm-hmm. Even more, and they also want to bring it to their customers. So the footprint of that consulting company is about 30 to 40 million people.
So your go-to-market strategy is to onboard big corporate, big company that has many employees, many fans or whatever, and this will lead you to the hundreds of millions of users for KORA.
Exactly. So and not only that, that's also a negative customer acquisition cost because you've been paid by them to bring their employees because that brings them so much value, which is beyond the sustainability value. And this is actually, give me just a few more seconds. We're talking about brand value, company value, because all research showing that companies that genuinely acting on climate are enjoying from Patagonia is one of an excellent example. Patagonia is kicking all the KPIs of efficiency, profitability, revenues, a comparison to their peers, and they are not the only ones.
Are you able to put a number and to evaluate the impact that KORA has been able to bring since the launch in terms of carbon or whatever?
So good days at the moment, but that will change dramatically because at the moment, we just out of our beta and started our rollout. I would say that good day is around 300 kilos per day, which is so it's 2 tons per week. So it's 2 tons per week. It's 100 tons per year, right?
But I said at the beginning, like, is it great? Is it?
So it's not yet. It's not yet, but now start to look at the multiples, right? Because when you will, if you can put a multiple. Let me say it in a different words. We are looking into avoidance, and this is something which I didn't say. We're not talking about carbon reduction. We're talking about carbon avoidance. Okay, so people avoiding emissions, which is when you avoid emission, you don't have to remove it, right? Our plan is to cross the gigaton. So we think that it's realistic per user with mobility, energy, and food to have around 1.5 ton avoided per person. And now just make the multiples. All what we need is 2 to 3 billion users, and that's it.
That's my next question. Where are the 1 to 2 billion people? Are they only in Europe, or are you going to target also the Asia?
Of course. So the plan is so at the moment it's mainly UK and Netherlands, and we're also starting to see a footprint in Sweden. So Sweden will be the open for the Nordics, Netherlands for Benelux, and UK is a very big market. We're here in France now. I think the French market is super interesting. That's also the reason why I'm here today for Change Now. And we're starting to see some, but it's just starting. And one of the reasons why we spoke with you, because when we're talking about investors, we would love to have a French investors that also bring value, can help us to enter the market. So it's not only the money. And then the entire Europe. From there, probably will be naturally to go parts of the US. It also a little bit depends on, but we see, we already had some initial conversations there. We're not ready to go there, and we shouldn't. But company-wide, there is an interest, and of course the Asian market. So there you go.
Okay. So you have a lot of to do. Still.
Yeah, but one thing at a time. We have to be. Even I understand that we have to be realistic.
Who are the people working on the project?
Oh, I have an incredible team, like for real. No offense with whom to start. So first, one of the early person that I brought in was her name is Claire, also ex-investment banker, and she has a lot of experience as the executive. And I brought her because I don't think I'm good enough in running companies, and I have to. I felt that I need someone to help me in that. I have Samir, who is helping very much on the business development, especially in the world of sports. So, which we believe is really, really important vertical. We have many other. I just don't have enough time to speak about everyone.
How many people?
So we are 12 in total. Not everyone is full time because we are still lean. And part of the raise is to bring more time from the people that are already involved. And also we need to bring some new people.
Talking about the fundraising, so you are raising funds right now.
Yes.
What are the different goals thanks to this roadshow?
The goals are to cross the 100,000 users. That should bring us to at least 500,000 ARR, at least. Become profitable, so a bit positive. And probably from there to go to round A, and I hope not to go anywhere beyond the round A. Where I don't want to be in the business of fundraising. I want to be in the business of having a very profitable business out while we are slowing down and stopping climate change.
And what type of investors are you looking for this round?
That's a very good question. Preferably, and no offense to no one, we would love to have high net worth and family offices, because usually they have a long-term way of thinking. Not because we are concerned about how fast we can grow, but this is very much in alignment with a lifetime mission to stop climate change. Saying that, however, if there is a good alignment with VCs, the same way of thinking, happy to have the conversations.
In terms of potential customers, you are talking a lot about sports, consulting companies, and so on. But I think that there are other type of companies that could be really interested by KORA, such as the retailers, the energy companies, and so on.
So it's really interesting that you are asking this, because just lately we prepared a few proposals for retailers and for utilities and energy companies, showing them how they can actually engage with their customers, not only with their employees, to decrease customers' churn, increase engagement, and increase brand value and loyalty. This is actually a very powerful tool because people are emotional about climate. There is a fear from climate. And when you show a leadership as a service provider to your consumer, the numbers showing that you can actually make it into a profit center.
Thank you very much. Before to conclude this podcast, I wanted to let you talk to the camera directly and to share just one message, whether if it's for an investor, a customer, your daughter, I don't know, whatever. But if you have to share one message to the ones that are listening the podcast, your time.
Wow, that's you caught me here. One message. Is it only one?
One or two.
I think that we are living in a challenging period of the world. I think that the social media that from one hand connected us in a way that never before, also creating huge confusion. I think that in addition to that, geopolitics, so these two sources of the geopolitics with the social media creating a lot of anxiety for so many people. And my message is that if we just learn to go back into ourselves, just close our eyes, just breathe, just focus and connect to the good, we can, as a society, we can bring back, and I hear it, and we hear it all over the place. So many people have the anxiety, and so many people talking about negativism, and I don't blame them, of course. I think we have the power to make a decision that it is in our hand to make the changes. I really believe in that. Many people think that I'm out of my mind trying to stop climate change and it's too big, etc. But I'm just a human being. And yes, you might say that it's unusual that someone decides to stop reading, right? But we can all do a journey that can put us together to make those changes. This is my message.
Thank you very much, Gilad. I hope a lot of people will hear this message, and I hope will try to focus on themselves in order to change the world and to make it better. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much, guys, for listening this podcast. It was our first episode in English, but be sure you can subscribe. We will have other international guests soon. Thank you very much to Gilad, and happy to give you some great news soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elie, for having me.
It was a great pleasure and an honor.